again, Job. Well, we made it. Happy Easter. Today is Easter or Resurrection Sunday. Today is obviously about Jesus rising from the dead. As a result, he conquered sin and spiritual death. In the book of Matthew chapter 28 verses 1 through 10 it says, After the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the woman, Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, he has risen, just like he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go and tell his disciples he has risen from the dead, and he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you. So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to the disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. Greetings, he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. Jesus said to them, Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me. And then in the book of John chapter 20 verses 1 through 18 it says, Early on the first day of the week while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, They have taken the Lord out of the tomb and we don't know where they have put him. So Peter and the other disciple started for the tomb. But the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there, but did not go in. Then Simon Peter came along and went straight into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the cloth that was wrapped around Jesus' head. The cloth was still lying there, separated from the linen. Finally, the other disciple who reached the tomb first also went inside. He saw and believed. They still did not understand from Scripture that Jesus had to rise from the dead. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her, Woman, why are you crying? They have taken my Lord, she said, and I don't know where they have put him. At this she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize it was Jesus. He asked her, Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you are looking for? Thinking he was a gardener, she said, Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him. Jesus said to her, Mary. She turned towards him and cried out in Aramaic, Rabboni, which means teacher. Jesus said, Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, I have seen the Lord, and she told them that he had said all these things to her. Okay, today is a very special day. Today marks the end of sin and spiritual death because Jesus conquered it. Today is the beginning of a new era for humanity. We learn from Scripture that Jesus has power over sin and death and is sitting in heaven with ultimate authority with God the Father. Before we get into that, let's delve into these verses. The two Marys went to Jesus' tomb and found it opened. They saw two angels standing there. No doubt they were startled. I mean, they saw Jesus die and now he's just gone? They felt an earthquake, and now they're seeing glowing angels? I'd be a little freaked out too. Anyway, the angels tell them not to be afraid and that Jesus has risen. The guards also had a reason to fear. They were so afraid of the angels and the earthquake that they shook and became like dead men. But what was the reasoning behind all that fear? Well, 1, what just happened, and 2, they were just supposed to guard a tomb. They weren't expecting to witness a resurrection. Plus, what if Pilate or the chief priests found out? They'd be in serious trouble. Backing up a little bit, let's take a look at the sin problem. Since the world began, to clarify, ever since Adam and Eve rebelled against God by eating the forbidden fruit, the world was under a curse. The curse was sin and spiritual death. Throughout the Old Testament before Jesus was born, God has promised to redeem us through one of Eve's descendants. Thus, eventually Jesus was born. According to the book of John chapter 25 verse 11, it says, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. This verse is actually before Jesus rose Lazarus from the grave. Jesus is talking to the sister of Lazarus when he says this. Jesus confirms that he is the resurrection and the life. Even though the person may physically die, they will spiritually live if they believe in Jesus. So, as we celebrate the day of Jesus' resurrection, let us consider a few things. First, do we accept Jesus as mankind's salvation? Do we believe that he truly died on the roads to take away our sin and death? Second, are we willing to obey him and let him move in our lives? Will we accept his will for our lives? Or will we try to go through life on our own? Because if we go through life on our own, we will end up falling and having a crap ton of heartache. Take it from somebody who knows and has tried it. Lastly, will we hold on to fear and sin, or will we give it to God? All scripture in this devotional is taken out of the New International Version of the Bible. The Biblical Easter Story devotional is copyrighted March 2021 by Morgan Job. The background music for this segment is provided with paid license by audiojungle.net and audioblacks.com. Jesus said to the angel said to the woman, and then in the book of John chapter 20 verses 1 through 18 it says, So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved. They felt an earthquake, and now they're seeing golden angels. They felt an earthquake, and now they're seeing glowing angels